That 2 seconds. I don't think that I see some people are.
It's revised on, it has the full section on it.
Today is September 23rd, it's 9 o'clock. The county board meeting will come to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, everybody. Morning, Mr. Additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I propose one addition to the agenda, item 11.5. This will be a sheriff, our sheriff presenting a resolution to apply for a Sourcewell Public Safety Grant.
3.5. Let's switch to the board.
Make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment 11.5.
Motion made by Commissioner Moran, second by Commissioner Casper. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Employee recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll invite Amy and Seth to come forward, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Seth.
This morning, I have brought Seth Podolsky. He is our new help desk specialist. He joined us yesterday.
Oh,
So he comes to us from previously web development background and programming, computer programming from St. Cloud Tech. So we're excited to have him on the team and have some new knowledge with us.
Fantastic.
Welcome aboard.
We'll give him a little grace period, but you know, by tomorrow.
You have 2 days. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Yeah. Where are you from originally, Seth? I'm from here in Bow Falls. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Seth, what's your last name?
Grabowski.
Grabowski.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop him.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Welcome aboard.
Just that name alone will go a long ways.
I believe you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
That concludes our employee recognition, Mr. Chair.
Approval of the consent agenda. Anything that anyone would like to move for further discussions? If not, what's the wish of the board?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as was provided to us.
Motion made by Commissioner Blaney,
Second.
second by Commissioner Winter. Discussions? Hearing none, this will be a roll call. Commissioner Blaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casper,
Aye.
Commissioner Winter,
Aye.
Commissioner Moran,
Aye.
myself, Commissioner Moyer is aye. Motion carried. All right, next on the agenda, National 4-H Week Proclamation. Thank you for that.
Mm.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead. Let everybody do that. Here's your microphone.
Yeah, let's do that, Becky. I'm sure it'll go dead, but we'll start off with that.
All right, good morning. Thank you for letting us come before the board this morning for breakfast with the commissioners, where we want to thank you for your continued support of Extension and the 4-H program in particular. I have a nice crew with me. I'm going to pass the microphone and let them introduce themselves. Please let them know your name and your club and maybe your favorite 4-H project.
I'm Maddie Holtz. I'm from the Livestock Legends 4-H Club. My favorite 4-H project is showing these pigs. I'm Megan Felbaum. I'm from the Livestock Legends 4-H Club, and my favorite project to show is beef cattle.
I'm Everett Rudolph, and I'm from the Snappy Elmdalers. My favorite 4-H project is poultry.
I'm Vivian Rudolph. I'm from the Snappy Elmdalers 4-H Club, and my favorite 4-H project is sheep. My name is Cooper and I'm in Boots and Buckles. My favorite project is showing cattle.
I'm Michelle Fleischacker, and this is Emery Fleischacker. We're from the Boots and Buckles 4-H Club, and she loves showing her sheep.
Brenda Rudolph, a 4-H volunteer and mom of Everett and Vivian.
Nate Rudolph, volunteer and parent.
All right, I do want to quick slip in. I dropped you all a county fair report. And just really quick on the very last page, one of our local 4-Hers received a national 4-H award recently, Antonio Becker, that comes along with a $5,000 college scholarship and a year's worth of professional development to continue growing their leadership skills. And so I just wanted to make mention of that really quick because as long as I've been here, I have never had a national winner before. It makes me ponder which one of these are next. So I do have a youth here who will read our proclamation whenever you're ready.
We're ready.
National 4-H Week Proclamation. Whereas this year's National 4-H Week theme, Beyond Ready, reminds us that the 4-H is building a ready generation in a world of change and equips young people with skills for the future while meeting them where they are today. Whereas 4-H is America's largest youth development organization, supporting 6 million youth across the country. And whereas 4-H programs are delivered by the Cooperative Extension System, a community of more than 100 public land-grant colleges and universities across the nation, that provides experiences for young people to learn by doing. Whereas 4-H is in every city and county in the United States, and it helps 6 million youth become engaged, successful, and independent. And whereas 4-H connects young people and adults to their communities, preparing them for work and life through experiential and inquiry-based learning, while providing emerging research for positive youth development. And whereas expanding from its strong agricultural roots, 4-H helps young people explore the world around them and grow into productive adults. And whereas supporting future leaders in science, agriculture, and community leadership is an important imperative for U.S. Department of Agriculture Nation Institute of Food and Agriculture 4-H program. And now, therefore, Commissioner Lemire proclaims October 5th through 11th, 2025 as National 4-H Week throughout Morrison County, and encourage all of our citizens to recognize 4-H for the significant impact it has made and continues to make by empowering youth with the skills they need to lead for a lifetime.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Winter, second by Commissioner Casper. Discussions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That would be such a beautiful example.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm just talking to the youth here and then just asking them some questions. It's just nice to see them grow. We have them here too over the years that they become more involved in 4-H and that. And then, my same speech every year. I was in it for many years back in the long age myself. So very supportive of the 4-H. I also talked to these two young ladies here about their hogs and cattle. They went to the state fair with them, so that's to be congratulated. So thank you for that.
This year's that. Well,
Before Christmas.
they were there 12 days at the state fair.
Oh, really?
All 12 days.
12 days.
That's dedication.
That's not getting that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing how, it's not easy either. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, thank you. And I want to say thank you to the youth for coming here and making our day. I think I told you this is our bestest and most favoritist day, being a county commissioners when we get to have breakfast with you guys. And so we're very grateful for that. But Mr. Chair, I think it's also important too that we recognize the adult leaders that we have that are here, the commitment they make, not only to their children, but to all the youth in the county. And then, of course, to Becky and her leadership through the extension office and through that 4-H program. we recognize the value this program provides to the youth, to the families, to our community and the entire county. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Casper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, great job reading on that. That was sweet. And yet, youth, I'd just like to thank you. This is you'll recognize it years later, what a jumpstart to life this has been for you. You've got parental support, which is just huge. It's discipline. It's a sweet start to a good life. God bless you all. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yep.
I just want to thank Becky for this nice shirt and for breakfast and for the job you do with these wonderful children and young adults. It's always a gift to us that have them come here and talk to us about their animals. They always amaze me how their communication skills are and how much better they get. Everett, is that he's twice the size for one.
He's 3 times the size.
Amazing. Okay, 3 times the size. I wasn't here that. And Commissioner Zelinski always gave you a hard time. It's nice to see you.
We love you guys.
Mr. Winter.
Again, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag just a little bit. We also have the Farm Family of the Year in front of us here.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna be honoring them down the road, but again, that, they've been coming for many years and they, well deserve that award. And that would be the Rudolphs.
Thanks for bringing that up, Commissioner Winter. That's great. I was wondering if we could get a picture with you all.
We would love to get a picture. Thank you again for having us here today.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Becky.
Would you mind coming down in front so we can get Emery in the picture?
Do you want to wheel it up here or you want to be down in front?
Sure, we'll be able to see.
Okay, oh, she's carrying her.
Okay.
Yeah, either way.
It's all right. It's time.
And said you heard people talking. What's that?
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. It's not. It should feel. Good job.
Squeeze in here.
Squeeze in.
No, also like because that's still standing.
I'll move down. Up and down. Come on down some more.
Becky, you have to squeeze in there yet too.
You wanna come down here, you can get right in here, you can be a picture, you can right in here.
We'll move down one more. Come on.
I got it.
Oh, I think that one is.
I knew what it she was. We're gonna pick.
One more yet?
We're down them all, then.
Tap, the rest work.
It's Steve talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Get in this picture.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he's got the, get that red shirt.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Time for the picture.
It'll be tall too. And the person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he in your 40th son?
Everybody but Bobby.
Stand up, buddy.
I am. I'm on tiptoes.
Okay. Smile. It's okay, in front of Everett's head. There you go. Perfect.
Oh, she's talented.
One more.
This one's going live.
Yeah.
Eyewitness News. There we
Oh.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did wonderful job.
Thanks again for the rest of your.
I'm still munching that. I love the passion.
Pockets are full of cheese.
Great. Yeah. Take care of, take the cares on it. It's good. It's good. I use a swing on. He was always in that Boston. That's good.
Yes, it is. Remember that? Yeah. All right. Next on the agenda is Hands of Hope.
You can see that perfect. Yeah, I just heard that.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Normally we come before you because we have a proclamation. Today we don't. We're just here to give an update. So,
Super.
we'll introduce ourselves. So my name is Stephanie Ack. I'm the Executive Director for Hanson Health Resource Center.
Good morning. I'm Rocio Fernandez Lugo, Lead Advocate and Domestic Violence Services Coordinator and Volunteer Program Coordinator.
Good morning, I'm Chloe Callhammer, who is the Child Abuse and General Crime Services. Good morning, I'm Taylor Hernandez. I am the Sexual Assault Services Coordinator.
Welcome.
So this is our Little Falls office. We serve both Morrison and Tatt County, but this is our Little Falls office. Mine is Marilyn Bartel, who's our finance director, assistant director. So I provided you with some statistics from our agency. Our fiscal year starts in October, so this is about 11 months worth of stats for us. We have about another part of a month to go yet to complete our year, but I wanted to share these just to give you an idea of the kind of work that we're doing, but I also wanted to spend more time talking about what it actually is that we do and how people get connected to us. So we take walk-ins and we take referrals from many different other agencies. When clients come to us with a need, we usually meet them where they're at. So what I mean by that is if someone comes to us and they are just leaving an abusive situation and have never reached out for services before, we talk them through what their options are, what they can do to keep safe, what kind of resources are in the community and that type of thing. If they're referred from another program, oftentimes they've already received some services, such as the referrals we get from law enforcement. Sometimes they've already made a report or law enforcement's been involved. And so they're trying to figure out what next steps are for that. Sometimes they've been told to come over to our office to get an order for protection or that type of thing. And so our advocates will help them complete that. Sometimes they come to us because they've been told you need to get an order for protection. And so when they come over and meet with the advocates, we spend some time doing a little screening because oftentimes we get people that are referred to us that are told to get an order, but it doesn't really meet the statute. Like maybe it's a one-time thing that happened. And so the advocates do some screening of that to make sure that it's a good use of everyone's time, but also let them know what other options are available to them besides just getting an order for protection. If you look at our stats, we have 4 crisis line volunteers. We have a 24-hour hotline. And so when our office is closed, which our office is open from Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. When our office is closed, we have dedicated volunteers and staff who are on call. And so their job doesn't necessarily quit and they leave the office at 4 o'clock. Sometimes they're on call for a week at besides. And so I just want to point that out because it takes a lot of commitment and dedication on the part of our staff to do the work that we do, and it can be very difficult sometimes. And like I said, we have 4 hotline volunteers. So they've been doing an amazing job covering almost the entire month when our office, the night times when our office is closed. We can always use more volunteers. So I'm going to plug in for that. I'm going to let Rocio talk about that in just a minute, but they've been with us a very long time. Our longest volunteer has been with us over 30 years. So and I think our biggest one is what? 19. So we're looking, like I said, we can always use some of the blood. So do you want to talk a little bit about the volunteer?
Sure. So I coordinate the volunteer program. As you can see, it's not very challenging because we only have 4 volunteers, but we're always looking to recruit more. So we meet once a month where we do some training and we talk about topics that are present at the moment that are related to the work we do. Everybody comes to the table with some information to share and questions, and we try to keep it current. So to keep all volunteers interested. And then we discuss the calendar, see who is available when, and they make the commitment usually 1 month ahead of time. So we know if we're gonna have coverage for specific days or not.
And for people that are interested in volunteering?
Oh, yes, if anybody's interested in volunteering, they can contact me. I do not remember my phone number at the time right now, but by email, Rocio, my first name, ROCIO @handsofhope.com is a good way of communicating, or our general email as well. So anybody who's interested in volunteering has to go through a 40-hour training. We provide all the material, the guidance. I usually meet with people and explain what needs to be done. And after that is completed, they will need a background check, and then they should be ready to work with us.
Thank you. So our main office number is 320-632-1657. Making sure that that's on there. And also our hotline number is on the document that I provided to you. Are there any specific questions that anyone has about the work that we do, other than what I've already shared?
Mr. Casper?
Yeah, just a simple question. Do you just carry or cover the Morrison County area, or what area do you all cover?
We serve Morrison County and Todd County, and we have a separate office in Long Prairie with advocates in that community.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Our volunteers serve both counties as well. They don't discriminate. They could be a Morrison County volunteer who may be on call for a Todd County advocate.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So one of the unique things that we have been successful at in the last couple of years is we have 2 bilingual advocates on our staff. And so Rocio speaks English and Spanish, and we have another advocate in our Long Prairie office that also speaks English and Spanish. And we have seen a huge increase in the number of people that we're serving, especially in our Todd County office, that don't speak English. So I wanted to share that. That's probably the main thing that I wanted to talk about today. But like I said, I really wanted to make sure that you know about our services, but also how people find us, because I think that's one of our critical things. People don't really know that we're here until they need us, and then they usually get sent to us by someone else. They're not, they might see the advertisement and they might, see the phone number, but not really get what it is until it's there.
Any questions, gentlemen? Commissioner Moran?
Just one comment is that it's a small nonprofit. It's these 4, then you got Maryland and a couple in Long Prairie. They do a very good job, and the volunteers they have volunteering their time, touching the lives of many people in many different ways. So they're organized and very well to work with. So.
Anything else, someone? I just can't, I'm amazed at how many hours that your volunteers put in. It's humbling, and that it's a lot of work for them and a lot of trauma for you guys, I'm sure. And we hope that you work together, talk together, and get some help. And we appreciate everything you do. It's a tough job. And I assume you work with a lot of police officers that you probably their first stop.
Many times, yes. And work very closely with county attorney's office as well, because as people are going through the criminal process, the victim is kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with that. And oftentimes if it gets to a trial, they have to testify, or addicts are with them through that as well. But I just want to make a comment on when you're talking about trauma. We try to do what we can to really focus on mental health of our staff and the wellness of our staff. There's a lot of mental health needs in the community. This adds to that for people sometimes. And we've been fortunate enough to get some supporters and some grants to be able to really focus on the mental health of our clients as well. So we have been paying some out-of-pocket expenses due to their needing therapeutic help, and because our advocates can provide support counseling, but we're not trained therapists, and so there's sometimes people need much more help than what we can provide to them. And with the cost of health insurance and out-of-pocket expenses and co-pays and that type of thing, it's very difficult, and so sometimes people need it and aren't able to get it, so we've been able to provide some help with it.
All right, hearing nothing from, anything else, Mr. Casper?
Yeah, just a quick question. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you share with me, and I feel really naive asking this question, but where do you get, are there churches that give you support? The county supports you? Where do you get your support from?
Thank you for that question.
You're welcome.
We get some, we have contract work through Morrison County Social Services, so that's a small part of our funding, but most of our funding comes through the state, through the Department of Public Safety Office of Justice program.
Okay.
There's some federal funding that trickles through them toward us, but most of our money comes directly from the state grants. We do some fundraising. We have a community support campaign that we do, as well as a raffle each year. And the rest of our support comes from the community. So from donations from churches, from individuals.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, buddy. All right, well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good work. Yeah.
You'll see us again soon.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Lake Alexander Live.
I just fixed my house.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, nice to see all of you today. Deputy Clerk, County Administrator LeBlanc. I would be remiss if I didn't make a special recognition to my fellow St. Cloud State University wrestling alumnus, Matt LeBlanc. Now, you might look at me and look at him and go, you were both wrestlers. Yes, I was, but I wrestled at 118 pounds when that existed back in the early 80s. And Matt was early 90s, mid 90s at heavyweight. So nice to see you again, buddy. All right, so I'm Dr. Bill Faber. By day, most of you know I run the Natural Resources Program at Central Lakes College. Today, I'm here on behalf of the Lake Alexander Lake Improvement District, where I am the chair. Been on that commission or that in that position on the board there since 2006 when we were formed. I was about 2 years when they did, for some reason let me off, and now I'm back on. So I've been on there for the last 22 years, and I'm also president of the Property Owners Association. But I'm speaking on behalf of the Lake Improvement District and our 400, and I believe this year 487 members, which is not necessarily by choice. It's by those that are littoral property owners on the lake. So you have in front of you, I sent in our latest treasurer's report, which covers the last year from when we had our annual meeting this year, the 9th of August, just a few weeks ago, to last year's meeting, which was on the 10th of August. I direct your attention specifically to under the bold text in the middle, the projected 26 checking budget, and then our request for approval by the commissioners for our coming 2026 assessment. A couple of the things I'd like to share with you today, looking at what we've done this current year as far as aquatic invasive species. First of all, I should mention we were fortunate this year in getting some grant monies. I received a grant from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for $12,500. And then again, we've got some money from the county. This year was split up a little differently, but we got another $3,250 from Darren Welly and the AIS program here at the county level. So we're greatly appreciative of those funds as our membership, because it reduces their assessment, as you can see this year compared to last, which I'll mention here in a minute. As far as what we actually did in the lake, we have not really changed much the last probably 3 or 4 years as far as the amounts or acreage of curly-leaf pondweed. CLP is the abbreviation, and EWM, which is Eurasian water milfoil. We were again at 20 acres. I think we've been at 20 acres, with a low of maybe 16, 17 acres up to maybe 22, 23 acres as long as I've been on the board. Curly-leaf pondweed, as you may or may not know, has been around in the United States or North America since the early 1900s. So it's been here. It's actually harder to deal with than the Ragewater milfoil, which only has been in the country for about 30, 40 years. This year we were around 30 acres of the Ragewater milfoil treatments, and you can see that those are our single largest cost each year. So it's about the same. Actually, no, for whatever odd reason, the price for the chemicals to treat the Ragewater milfoil, we had a substantial decrease this year. I forget the amounts, but when you're paying somewhere $1,400, I forget what it is, $900. Yeah, it dropped enough that we saw a few $1,000 decrease in our overall expenditures for that. The other thing I wanted to think about, so every year we have our annual meeting for the Property Owner Association, the Lake Improvement District on the same day. The Lake Improvement District meeting follows the Property Owner Association, and I say this because it's kind of interesting. So every year, and like I said, been on the Property Owner Association a long time, we have about 100 members of that organization come, and those are the people that voluntarily choose to be in the Property Owner Association. We have about 375 members of the 487 property owners that are in that, choose to be in that. There's 100 people there for that. We wait 15 minutes from the end of that meeting, and then we have our LID meeting, our Lake Improvement District. This year was the smallest number of the same people that actually have to be in the Lake Improvement District because they get assessed on their property taxes. And we had 18 of the people of the 100 that were there. There weren't anybody else that walked in. So you can look at it two ways, I would suggest. One, on the bad side, is they think I'm doing a lousy job, as is the board, and so there's no reason to stay. Or I'm generally a positive person. You can think that only 18 figured that there was anything to think about or whatever. And when you think about who votes for these numbers, it's only the people at the meeting in person. They don't get to vote. They're involved in our elections. We send out ballots for election of the board members, but they can't vote on what this is. So that's over the last 25 years, we've gone from 100 staying because there were 100 there to 18 people that stay for that meeting, which I find kind of ironic. Anyways, so I can't say that all of the people approved 125, say 18 did, because it was unanimous. The other thing, for the few people that stay, I always ask them about why we keep the budget as high as some people might consider, and maybe you do as well. And it always comes back to two major bog issues we had here in 2011, 2016 or 17, when we spent probably upwards of $160,000, $170,000 between those two different episodes, when we had one bog, the second one, which was the size of probably 3, almost 4 football fields. All right. And the first one was large, not quite that large. So those were big costs, and those stick in the minds, at least of these people that come to the meeting and specifically say, you tell those commissioners, we want to keep our budget the way it is, just in case we have an issue like that again. So we don't do it on purpose, and, we just do the will of what the people want. So you understand why we tend to keep it on that little bit higher side. So this year's budget, we did drop it. Last year was $200. This year it's $125 because we don't want to keep it, excessively high, but we still have that when you look in. And Ron, we've only had 2 financial people over the years of the whole thing, and both have understood that. So they figured that in when they make our recommended assessment each year. And some of our other miscellaneous costs and stuff, which are basically, unchanged, except for this year, we're going to increase the little stipend we give, which is why I circled that administrative budget, because you may not know, but the same person was our secretary for the Property Owner Association longer than I have been on the board. And she also was our LID secretary, Darlene Moldy. Some of you might know her. She suddenly passed away at 85 this summer, about 3 weeks before the meeting. So it was a little hectic, but we have found 2 individuals now that will take those positions, but we're going to give them a little bit more, like $300 for what they do for us, which is the most important part of what we do, is our financials. So I think that probably covers the things that I wanted to mention for you, fellas and ladies. Is there any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Faber?
Come on, you guys got a question or two for me.
Yes, not so much a question, it's a comment. Again, you stated that there was 18 people. Everybody knows that this meeting's there, that the assessments are involved. So again, you may be projected whether you're doing a crappy job or a good job. My guess is you're doing a good job there. So that's what I would perceive. Everybody, I'm sure they want a clean lake, and they know that this is part of living on the lake. So I appreciate, it's a great presentation too, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Washington. And just an additional note there, when we started with, in 2006, in the late 2000s, in 08, 09, and 2010, I think we were treating over 100 acres of irrigation water milfoil and still just 20 acres. So it's the irrigation water milfoil that we've been more successful in dropping down to basically nothing. And for the few people that I live by that remember when there was a ring around the whole eastern bay of the weeds when they topped out the irrigation water milfoil, they remember that quite well, those that have been there long enough. And so they are very thankful for where we're at because we don't have any access issues with irrigation water milfoil. It's actually more with people that have the Curly Pond weed, interestingly. So.
Any zebra mussels?
Yes, we have zebra mussels. Interestingly, you should ask that. Fish Trap Lake got them just before we did. We got them about probably 7, 8, 9 years ago. What we've seen, we still do the veliger testing that the county oversees with Darren Welly. I just got the email from him. All they see from that is that we still have veligers, so we know we haven't. But when I look at, and knowing a lot of people on Fish Trap compared to Lake Alexander, they had a much bigger issue. So they obviously had a much bigger increase because they had a lot more property owners that were seeing the zebra mussels on their docks and so on. I live in a shallow side of the lake on the northeast corner. I don't have any that come in. I think partly because we don't have the right substrate. It's too shallow and this sort of thing. And there are some parts of the lake when I talk to people that they have some on their docks and so on when they take them out, but it just hasn't seemed to gone up like it does in many lakes. And I was at a meeting with a zebra mussel specialist here a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him specifically. We were up on 10 Mile Lake up in Cass County, and I asked one of the fisheries people that was on this. We were on a tour with the Legislative Citizen Commission that I serve on, and there was a bunch of legislators and people on 10 Mile Lake. And I asked them, they had just found veligers in the lake, so they don't have, the outbreak is just beginning. And I asked them about that, and they aren't too concerned up there. But I asked them specifically because what we've seen, and you guys knowing my background in natural resources, that every lake is different. It's not like terrestrial things, terrestrial invasives, that is pretty much the same wherever we have an outbreak. And zebra mussels have shown to be way different. Each lake is its own habitat for them. So we didn't see it fish in Lake Alexander. They have in Fish Up, and that's what it's been. Mille Lacs, as you know, the walleye fishery has been negatively impacted and so on. So we haven't seen any of that. So it's kind of interesting. And so I don't know that we'll have any major issue with it as far as, people getting them so thick and all of this sort of thing. So that's kind of nice. So thanks for the question.
I'm good, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Blank?
Dr. Faber, Bill. First of all, thank you for the work you do, not only at Lake Alec, but also at the college too, and especially with our young students up there. But I got to ask you, in the Lake Association meeting and your LID meeting up there, so what would be the biggest concern that the residents have up there on the lake? I mean, we're talking about, there's a lot of good things but there must be something of concern up there. And I think we need to make sure we keep our finger on that pulse.
Good question. Great question to ask. And it's not funny you should ask me that, my friend, but it's wakeboard boats. So there's been we don't have that many. Okay, and you understand those who have been out to Lake Alexander, we have some large portions where we don't have any places. And so people are happy that we don't have a Gull Lake scenario there. But the wakeboard boats, the few that we do have, most of them have been doing what they're supposed to do. But I think just about everyone that was at the meeting, that came up because of the study results that have been shown about that. And not surprising to me, serving on the LCCMR, we funded most of those studies looking at the effects of wakeboard boats. And not surprising to me as a natural resource person and so on, that we're seeing that they're likely going to need to be, it was discussed on the legislature this year about imposing certain rules about the lakes they can be on, and shallow water lakes that if you go down to 20, you have to be deeper than 20 feet. Well, Alexander has one hole in the lake that's over 60 feet, about 70 feet. Otherwise, we have 30 feet is the norm. And so there was a question about that. And it's obviously more concerned when you have higher water. And then you hear that it's negatively impacting your shorelines and all of these different things. And so you guys, I'm sure, are going to be seeing that. I have a feeling, I'm sure that if nothing else, the DNR is going to institute, if they haven't already, rules, if it isn't done legislatively. And that was far and away the question that I could see was of most concern to people, both from those that have them and those that, you know, the majority of people that don't.
Thank you for that.
And we haven't seen, I would say that I know maybe the few people that do have them, and they do what they're supposed to do. They go out to the middle of the lake. They don't have the stereo blaring stuff that many of us maybe don't like to hear and all of this stuff. And so it's all right, but it's there. Yep.
Mr. Casper?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Doctor, question to you, refresh my memory. You mentioned that it can cost deeply to remove these bogs. Are you excavating them all and hauling it away, or how do you go about that?
We have, you know, so we got, you know, we work with the DNR. We have through all the years for all the necessary permits, both for Ragewater, Milk Fork and currently the AIS treatments. We have to get permits for that. And one of the things I think I mentioned maybe last year, but I still have to remind our membership too. They always ask when we get the assessment. So we have an assessment done every year on both of those, so that there's no question that what we treat is what is new, if you will, from last year. And they only allow us to treat where there's access issues, people boating and so on. It's not in some of the areas of the lake, you know, in the middle of the lake where there's a patch laying there. So they always wonder, well, there's a, you know, some of the people say, well, I hit this patch out in the middle of the lake. Well, that was your fault. It wasn't impeding you from getting into your dock or getting into an access or something like that. So that's the first thing you think about. What was the other?
I was wondering about the removal of bogs.
Yeah, so they like you. It's kind of an interesting thing with cattails now. As you understand, invasive cattails are a major issue on landscapes everywhere because they're growing and growing, which is what happened in our lake. But invasive cattails is a hybrid between an introduced narrowleaf and our regular broadleaf, and they're getting to be an issue. So when we did ours, it was kind of before or about the time they were seeing that was a problem. So there's some of our DNR people, and they're going out and removing those things. We asked, and with the amounts that we had, there was no way that those big. So when the permits in the beginning, you know, before we got the big box, we had small chunks. And when I say small chunks, we only took care, the Property Owner Association first was doing it before we formed the lid in 2006. That's how long I've been on the lake. And so then we did that because we knew we put that into the part of when we came in front of the board here, that we wanted that responsibility moved from the Property Owner Association to the lid so that our assessments would cover that cost. And so that was approved by you, and we were glad it did, because that was 10 years before or 5 years before the first big bog. But we were doing small bogs, and some were probably a few acres large. And so when we got a hold of the aquatic invasive species people here at the DNR, we said we were doing the smaller than a few acres. We were putting them in and staking them in back, because you could almost see where they had broken loose in a few spots where they had these big patches of cattails, and we would put them back in and stake them in. Well, turned out then, if you remember, 2009 to 2019 was the wettest 10 years we ever experienced. All of those things, the stakes got. And we'd see the same one, and someone would say, hey, look at the big poles in there. Well, they were the pieces we had staked in that hadn't grown, you know, got stuck with where we had put them back in. So then we realized, and then with the big ones, they had all sorts of these little bogs with some of these big poles sticking out when they got pulled out. So then they allowed us, said, that's not going to work for those big, huge bogs. I mean, because they were, you know, that one, like I said, was probably a couple of hundred, I don't know, 150 acres, something like that. And so it wasn't working, but we did begin with that. It just was not working then because the chunks got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, so.
Mr. Chair, do you need a motion
Yes.
to approve? I'll make a motion to approve the budget for the Lake Alexander lid, including the assessment of $125 per parcel.
Motion would be to approve the budget performance plan and the levy of Lake Alexander lid.
Perfect.
Motion by Commissioner Blaine.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Moran. Any further discussion? Just want to say thank you for everything you do. You've done also the Long Prairie Watershed District. He's the chair of that too, so he keeps busy.
You do a great job. Thank you.
I'll joke. We had just had our last property owners meeting, and I said I was thinking about stepping down. Silence. And I said, well, is somebody willing to step up? There's 9 people on the property. I was silent. So I guess I'll get it for default. I said, I'm going into retirement next year. And they said, oh, you will have more time for it, so you don't have to retire. I said, okay, so, all right.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Nice seeing you.
You
Appreciate
and Matt gotta have a wrestling.
well, I won't say anything.
I'll just let it go.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Bill. Have a great day.
You too.
Next on the agenda, land services report.
Mr. Chair, if I could, just for a second, piggyback on what Dr. Faber said, as far as for the zebra mussels. One of the things that our AIS program did was we did hire a lab right when our funding came to assess all of the lakes for water chemistry and substrate, and to give us a risk rating for each of our lakes on their likelihood of supporting a zebra mussel population. And so what we're seeing in the lakes does track with that rating. So the higher risked lakes are the ones that have that really thick infestation, and the ones that weren't as risky, if they do have zebra mussels, their population isn't as great. So it's an interesting piece of information for you. So I've got a couple of items for you today. And the first one is to consider the conditional use permit request for Donald and Carmen Walensky. This was to establish a tier 2 feedlot with the construction of 2 chicken barns. This was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission with 3 conditions, and those were that the property owner shall consult with the feedlot officer to identify suitable soils for manure stockpiling. The second is vegetation shall be reestablished and maintained within the beef cattle pasture area by October 31st, 2026. After October 31st, 2026, the pasture area must not exhibit feedlot conditions at any time. And number 3, the property owner shall establish and maintain a permanent vegetative buffer around the barns.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion with the 3 conditions.
Motion by Commissioner Winter,
Second.
second by Commissioner Blaine. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
All right, thank you. And then my last one, Mr. Chair, is to consider the conditional use permit request from Gregory and Renee Wensman. Again, this is also to establish a tier 2 poultry feedlot. This was recommended by the Planning Commission with 1 condition, and that condition is the 14-acre area east and south of the barns identified within the environmental review shall have permanent vegetation planted and maintained.
Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Blaine, second by Commissioner Winter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
All right, Mr. Chair, that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, Amy.
Community corrections report. 2025 update.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cole.
Mr. Chair, may I begin?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I'm here before you today to bring the 2025 County Board update. Essentially, this is all the information from 2024 because we haven't completed our year. So things are going great, but I'll go into a lot of detail about that.
Great.
My office consists of 7 agents. They cover everything from probation, supervised release, which is the old parole, and drug court. We also have an assistant corrections agent who oversees our paper supervision caseload, non-contact. They monitor things via email, checking court records, and communicating via telephone. I have an administrative assistant who processes all the court documents, all the paperwork that comes in and out of the office. And a surveillance agent who is part-time, and he does our night and weekend contacts at times for drug court. And then there's one of me. As of August 7th, 2025, we had 896 open clients. That number includes local supervision of 668 with transfer cases of 126. And those are a mixed bag of cases that are transferring in and cases that are transferring out. And to explain that a little better, if someone commits a crime in Morrison County, but they live in Brown County, they're sentenced here, but then if they qualify for transfer, we send their case to their resident county to be supervised. The same thing happens if a Morrison County resident commits a crime somewhere else. That case comes to us because we want local eyes on the people that are in our community. Warrant cases, currently we're at 102. And those come and go. If they get arrested, they turn things around, a new warrant comes out for someone else. So that's a very fluid number. Drug court's been active in Morrison County since 2014. We've had 105 people who have been referred to the program. We've had 45 participants that have graduated. And of those, 22 are parents, 35 were employed full-time upon graduation. 53 participants did not graduate. And there's a lot of explanation to that, but the first is that 27 of them requested to execute their sentence rather than comply with the program. You've heard me say before that drug court is hard. It's, you're seeing someone face to face 3 to 4 times a week. You're getting drug tested twice a week. You're calling every time you leave your home. If you leave your house and you go to the grocery store, you say that's where you're going. And then when you leave the grocery store to go to the gas station, you call and say that's where you're going. It's a difficult program. But so some people who just don't have a lot of time in prison hanging over their head will choose rather to just execute the sentence. But the ones that do are successful. The ones that do not execute their sentence are successful. We had 6 people who were removed due to legal reasons, and part of that is changes in the law. Some of the cannabis laws, the 5-year probation cap, and other ones who weren't legal residents here or their file was trying to be transferred, and our courts can choose whether or not to do that. And so a lot of different reasons for that. And then 20 were terminated due to ongoing rule violations. So out of those 53, 20 of them were terminated from our program, but the other ones were for other reasons. And that number actually, I believe, is 9 now for people we currently have in the program. Taking a look at our caseload breakdown within my office. These are the numbers that, as I explained, the highest caseload is the administrative monitoring. That's the paper supervision, the people who are very low and don't need a lot of contact, or the ones whose case doesn't qualify to be transferred to their resident county. Typically, that's because they are low risk. They may have no ongoing conditions. Maybe they've completed everything and they started off at the high caseload, medium high caseload, and they've completed everything, but they don't qualify for discharge yet. We move them down to that paper supervision because they don't need our attention as much. And looking at, these are the offense categories that the Department of Corrections and Department of Public Safety use for breaking down crimes that occur, to look at the big 5. And these do not include pretrial cases that are on supervision with us, because we do monitor people who have been released from jail and are awaiting sentencing. We do drug testing for them and verify criminal record. As you can see, the DWI is our highest number. It has always been one of our highest numbers. I always like to look at a 10-year and see where things are at. So as you can see, those numbers are fluid. Our most consistent one is typically our sex offenses. One of the reasons for that is those people are on supervision for a very long time, so that number doesn't sway as much. An interesting thing in here, and I'm going to say it before one of you brings it up, is that our drug offenses for 2024 are down, but our DWIs are actually increasing. And one of the reasons for that is driving under the influence of a substance. And so that's one of the things that we're looking at potentially, but that's typically a gross misdemeanor offense. And currently our drug court requires felonies. What we are looking at is that something that we could do to pull those cases in. So it's one of the topics on the table. I'm not sure how much people realize how often and how much we see our clients. So I wanted to break it down with this pie chart. The orange is the field visits. Those are the ones where we're out in their homes. We're meeting them at treatment facilities, sex offender treatment groups. We're seeing them at their employer. We're seeing them in different places. So in 2024, we had 1,824 field contacts. And then the other ones are in-person contacts. So those are face-to-face. They come to the office. We see them, maybe they have court. We see them up in court. And those are all documented as an in-person. The other way that we have a lot of contact with our clients is email and texting. That's been a swing in my career that is different. A lot of email and texting versus telephone calls. For the last few years, I've been asked to look at recidivism for our probation and supervised release cases. I have finally successfully done that. So this is the statewide recidivism. And these are people who are off supervision. So in 2020, they completed their supervision and they've been followed for 3 years. So the 95% and the 92% in that first year are 95 and 92% of people after 1 year of supervision had not committed a new felony. And the same with year 2 and year 3. And this is probation. The supervised release numbers, as you'll see, these are the people who are off paper and they are out of prison. Some of them have gone to prison, executed their sentence and come out and were followed for 3 years. And some have been off supervision and followed for 3 years. As you can see, our numbers are not as good for the supervised release. That was in 2020. So 2020 through 2023. I'll talk about this later, but that was one of the targeted areas that we discussed when we were adding a position into the office, was to create a specific supervised release caseload. My previous caseload for supervised release was half sex offenders, half supervised release, and it didn't allow for a lot of pointed, direct time dedicated to the supervised release clients. I am hopeful and positive that that number will get better. Then I wanted to break it down by program, specifically for Morrison County. The drug court numbers are a little deceiving because it's a very small pool. So if you have a small pool and one person commits a felony, that can really tip the scales. But I think it's important to see that these are still strong numbers. If you look at probation, after 3 years being off of paper and having any contact with anyone checking on you, 78% of people, I think that's an 8, are not committing new offenses. Again, the supervised release is an area where we have some work to do. And I think it's important to understand that our goal overall is to help these people make changes that last. It's not just our job to help people fix things for now while someone's watching. We want to help them make changes that last. And so that's where we are targeting our interventions. And the recidivism is one way that the Department of Corrections will be measuring in the future for funding. So just to update from 2023, as I said, we did add an agent position, and that was with the increased state of Minnesota funding, the subsidy funding. And when they increased that amount, there were requirements that you had to show what you were doing with that money related to supervision. So we added a specific agent to supervised release and medium high risk offenders. The reduction allowed for more time with her sex offender agent to meet clients, to attend sex offender treatment groups with her clients. She attends groups in both Brainerd and Sartell and 2 to 3 times a week. And then when she is doing risk assessments, these take at least an hour or 2 when she's working with her clients. So having that dedicated time and not being rushed is important. We also created a dedicated mental health agent who can better support our clients who have serious persistent mental health issues. She actually works closely with the adult mental health unit, social services. They have a lot of cases in common. And I feel very good about having that person in that role right now. She deals with that clientele very well. And finally, as I said, one of our focuses is to reduce recidivism and get that number up, especially with supervised release. Looking ahead, obviously, we're going to continue to monitor those recidivism numbers. I want to continue to review drug court referrals and participant numbers and monitor legislation for any impacts that we have for juvenile adult supervision on probation and supervised release. And I will pause for any questions.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just one point of clarification and then one other piece of additional information. The clarification when Nicole's talking about a mental health agent, that was not a new position. That was an assignment to caseload. Just for clarity there. But there was one new one that she did talk about to focus on supervised release. And then the other piece of information is as Judge Weiler retired after serving here in Morrison County, Judge Lester has come on and she has agreed or it will continue drug court. That was in question in that transition, but it sounds like Judge Lester is willing to officiate over that. Thank you.
Thank you. Was it Mike?
I did. I had one question. And, first of all, Nicole, tonight, always good to see your in your report. You had mentioned earlier about possibly being able to include, or capture isn't the right word, but maybe expand the drug court on some of the drug offenses that are gross misdemeanors versus felonies that could then fall under your purview. I was just curious, is that something, a decision that can be made within your jurisdiction, or is that something that has to come from the state of Minnesota or other powers? Could be your thoughts on that?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Actually, it's a great question. There are several drug courts across the state that are already doing some gross misdemeanor drug offenses. Specifically for us, I think looking at the gross misdemeanor driving while under the influence, and then potentially some of the gross misdemeanor offenses. There is a meeting with our drug court team, including Judge Lester, who obviously she is the captain of that ship, to determine what our drug court will look like in the future. If that's something that she does want to include. And I will be attending that meeting and it will be discussed. I know that there are, there's both DWI sobriety courts. There's the middle ground sobriety court that covers both DWIs and drug courts. And then we are a specific drug court. So any classification change that's major, like switching to including all DWIs, that would need to be approved by the Treatment Council Initiative. And that's through the courts, and it's a statewide panel. So we would have to apply to change our designation. But adding a few and changing just specific, we're going to take this many gross misdemeanor drug offenses, this many gross misdemeanor DWI drug offenses, that would be easier.
Good. And so do you view Judge new Judge Lester's, position on drug court as being supportive of that and certainly open to, to that work continuing.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I actually met with Judge Lester. She is very passionate about drug court. She's very interested in it.
Okay, good.
And so I think that she is going to invest and want to look at all options on the table of how to bolster our drug court and make it as successful as possible.
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Winter.
And again, I like your scale, graphs and all that about the graduates from drug court. You have 45 that graduated in the last 10 years. I'm one of those that likes to stick with something, how successful are they? Out of those 45, you keep track. Are they reoffending down the road? So again, since I was there at the first year when that young lady graduated from that, you keep track of her. I mean, again, and then there's other ones, if you have 45 graduated and you have a 90% that haven't reoffended or whatever in 10 years, it's a success. But I would look at, you have 45 that graduated and half of them are reoffending down the road, then you have to be something a person I have to look at. Explain that for me or help me with that?
Mr.
Yes.
Commissioner Winter, yes, we do track them to some extent. I don't have hard numbers on them. We actually remain in contact with quite a few of our graduates. Have some of them committed new offenses? Absolutely. The majority of them have not. And I can bring that information to you and gather.
It'd be interesting to see, if you have even a 75% success rate, that would be great, but it starts falling below. It's like, where any adjustments or where can we go with this?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anything else, Tom? Thank you so much. It's always
Thank
nice
you.
to see you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Very good job.
God bless you.
Next on the agenda, Auditor Treasurer's report.
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Morning.
Shannon Foyle, Auditor Treasurer. What I have before you today is we're seeking your approval to sign a waiver for a 30-day TIP plan being brought to the board ahead of a public hearing. A little bit of background information. So the expansion of Valley Hardwoods, it started out as a smaller project, only around $100,000 for expense. But due to some permit issues, it grew to over $1.2 million. Excuse me. With that, then the option for TIF financing became available to Mr. Watucki. And so he got with the RDFA to get that financing paperwork started, et cetera. So based on that timeline, Mr. Watucki had the contractors, the laborers, all the equipment and everything lined up, ready to go. It just took time then to get that TIF financing and everything, all the paperwork done and in place. So that is why they did not, they were not able to get us that TIF plan within 30 days of the public hearing that we have set for October 7th. So I'm coming to you today to ask that you approve the waiver for the 30 days.
Let's wish the board.
Mr. Chair, I move that we support the waiver.
Motion by Commissioner Blaine, second by
I'll second it.
Commissioner Winter. Discussion?
And if I may,
Go
Mr.
ahead,
Chair,
Commissioner Winter.
again, it's still the public hearing is gonna be there. So again, whether you're for or against it, that's where, this does not mean that we're approving it. We're just approving the paperwork or however that
Correct.
comes in there. So that's what I want to make sure that people understand.
And a reminder to, next week at the planning session, Carol Anderson and Jason Murray will be here to kind of walk you through the plan and answer any questions that you might have regarding it before October 7th.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm gonna have a roll call. Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Commissioner Winter.
Aye.
Commissioner Moran.
No.
Commissioner Lemire, aye. Commissioner Blaine.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
I'm sorry, Matt. 11.5 was Sheriff.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, Sheriff. Good morning. Absolutely. Nice to see you.
Good to see you guys too. So yeah, today, so we're applying for a grant and it's through Sourcewell. And we're looking at ballistic shield, squad tires and a couple thermal scopes. And it's like a one-time purchase where we don't need any of that money sustained in the future. However, part of the, agreement is that we get a resolution, where you as the board supports our application for the funding. And so that's why I'm here today. And I apologize, but as the grant, I believe the grant is due, I can tell you right here, September 24th. And as we're going through this, my investigator said, hey, I've learned that we need to do this resolution. So I thought we could use one that's been passed for the sheriff's office for me to utilize the resolution that was done in the past for all grants. But this one specifically lays out that we have to list the equipment and get board approval and signature. So if there's any questions, I can certainly answer that, but that's what I'm looking for, Mr. Chair.
Was with the board.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Blaine,
Thank you, sir.
second by Commissioner Casper. Discussion, Commissioner Casper?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Sean, I'm wondering, is this a matching grant or is this just a grant from Sourcewell? It doesn't need to be matched, or how does that work?
Sure. So yeah, Commissioner Casper, this is it's an impact fund is the title of it. And there's, basically there's a lottery system. And since we didn't apply last year, we'll be in that first group or first lottery, but it's not a matching one. It's just, it's up to $50,000 what it is, Commissioner. And, it'll just be one-time funding if we're successful.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. Anything else? Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good luck with your hand.
You guys too.
God bless.
God bless you.
Thank you.
And then if I can just get that signature, man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Yes.
Okay. Administrators report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll invite Kurt forward.
Mr. Chair, one commissioners.
One part.
Kurt Bernarski, Chief Financial Officer here at the county. I got 3 RVAs today for your consideration. All of them pertaining to budget and hearing regarding budget and levy. The first one here is to request to set the public hearing for the fee schedule public hearing and the 2026 final levy and budget hearing, also known as the Truth and Taxation meeting. So historically, this has been the week of the AMC annual conference, which this year starts on Monday, December 8th. So that week, we don't have planning session until that Thursday, which this year would be the 11th, would be that Thursday. And if we follow past practice, we'd have the TNT meeting that evening at 6 o'clock. So, and that falls within the rules. We have to have it at 6 p.m. or later, and then has to fall between November 25th and December 29th, which it does. So as long as that Thursday, the 11th works for you, we'll put that on the books.
Works for me. Works for me.
Good.
6 p.m. on the 11th.
December 11th.
Yes, yeah, and we'll,
Truth and Taxation.
yes, sir. And we'll post it for 6 p.m. would be the start time for the fee schedule, and the 6:05 will say the start time for the TNT. So historically, we haven't gotten public feedback from the fee schedule, but in case if we do and we go over that 6:05, we can certainly start the TNT later. We just can't start before 6:05.
Perfect. That sounds great. Kurt. Thanks.
All right, sounds good, and I'll send out a calendar invite as well, Mr. Chair, if you want to forward.
Mr. Chair, can we just get board action on that?
Gentlemen,
Motion to approve the December 11th, Truth and Taxation. I think it's that.
6 p.m. Motion by Commissioner Moran.
I'll make a motion. I just want to verify it's here at the courthouse.
Second by Commissioner Winter.
For this date.
Yeah. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Motion carried. Sorry about that, man. All right, Kurt, you're still up.
All right. The next Request for board action here is for approval of the preliminary levy and budget for the county for 2026.
Separate motions.
Separate motions, please.
First one before us will be the, I'm sorry,
Okay.
2026 preliminary levy. What is the wish of the board?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Winter, second by Commissioner Casper. Discussions. I just, we've had many meetings so far and we'll continue to have meetings until the budget deadline. I think I'll wait till the next item before I ask any questions.
So that percentage is 8.98%.
Mr. Chair, yes, sir. Commissioner.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Does this need to be a roll call? The chance?
We're not spending, Mr. Chair, but if you'd like to call roll, you may.
Let's do a roll call. This will be a roll call, gentlemen. Commissioner Winter?
Aye.
Commissioner Moran?
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire, myself is aye. Commissioner Blaine?
Aye.
Commissioner Casper?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next motion requested is for the 2026 budget at $66,235,804, and that's a 6.82% increase over 2025.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the budget at 66,235,804.
Motion by Commissioner Blaine, second by Commissioner Moran. Discussion. Kurt, can you just give a small synopsis of why the increases this year, particularly this year? So our paper can let our constituents know of the effects of federal and state cuts.
Yes, Mr. Chair. One of the big stories for us this year was having revenues outside of the levy, not keeping up with the cost of inflation. Our salaries increase projection is a COLA of 3% for next year. And then the 9% we had in our health insurance increases for benefits. So beyond that, the state and federal funds kind of stayed stagnant. And then even worse than that, some of the HHS funding from state and federal decreased over 200,000, which went right to the levy. So that's kind of the big thing is just our revenues outside of the levy aren't keeping up with the cost for the budget in the counties, and a lot of these funding that aren't keeping up or for mandated services. So that's kind of the stickler there, because we're just not getting the funding to keep up with mandated services that the county provides.
Some of the mandated services are requiring twice the labor cost the previous year because of instead of doing it annually, we have to do stuff biannually, and the effects of the act. That part of that also might require us to hire additional individuals. Anything else, gentlemen? Any discussion? We have a motion second on this? Got a motion and a second? Be a roll call. Commissioner Moran?
Aye.
Commissioner myself, Commissioner Lemire, aye. Commissioner Blaine?
Aye.
Commissioner Casper?
Aye.
Commissioner Winter?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
before we go too far away from that, I wanna say thank you to Mr. Bernarski and certainly to our administrator for their help and their patience with us in answering questions and certainly the work that's been done. Even though we're talking about that preliminary levy, but they've done tremendous amount of work in helping us get to numbers that we're trying to have minimal impact on the taxpayers of Morrison County. So I want to say how much I appreciate Kurt's work, Matt's work, and certainly our also our department heads and departments within our organization too. A lot of work's been done on this so far. We're not done, but if I would be remiss if we didn't take a minute here to say thank you at this point in time.
Yeah, I'd like to agree with that also. You did a great job. The packets you send us are easy to understand. I appreciate that very much. And we started at what, 16.9? That's what the estimated was. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That was without, applying any fund balance, which we generally do. But after applying that, we started mid-August at 11.85 and then worked our way down from there. Our last budget committee meeting, we were 9.66 and we were able to go back to some departments and pull a few more levers to identify funding for some one-off projects. That's the hard part is we could apply more funding and funding one-time funding sources to operating costs, but then it comes right back next year. And that's the hard part. We did see that with our ARPA use on salaries this year and coming off, and the public safety aid, we used a little bit of that towards operating costs for 2025, and that's the bad part, is it does come back.
We appreciate that.
And Mr. Chair, if I may give you brought the point about the levy, to reduce the levy, again, you already told us, what does it cost to reduce it by $1 dollar?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's 230,000 is per levy point.
So from the 16 something, we had to figure out, to get it down that, but pretty soon you should start cutting when it doesn't make, if you cut 5,000, that doesn't reduce the levy too much from anything. So 230,000, and that's increasing over every year, that percentage. So thank you for that, Kurt.
All right. What do you got next, Kurt?
The last RBI I have for you is request to approve the 2026 preliminary levy for the Morrison County Housing and Redevelopment Authority. So this is a special taxing district, so that's why it's separate from the county levy, but it is approved by the board. And so I think we do have 1 or 2 board members on that board as well.
Yeah.
One. Yeah.
What's wish the board?
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is this levy, would this levy be equivalent to the levy for 2025?
Yes, it's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same. So, Mr. Chair, with that knowledge, I will make a motion that we approve the HRA levy at $70,000.
Motion made by Commissioner Blaine,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Moran. Discussion? Do a roll call. Commissioner Lemire, aye. Commissioner Blaine,
Aye.
Commissioner Casper,
Aye.
Commissioner Winter,
Aye.
Commissioner Moran.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have for you. I'll get out a report, a little more information on the preliminary levy and budget report, and then we'll have a meeting or two for sure before we reach the TNT meeting as well. So there'll be more discussions on budget.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you. Have a good day.
For just a sec, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
What date is our next budget meeting?
I don't have that now. We'll probably look at end of October, early November for during a planning session, or I should say following planning session. So I'll go over the third quarter budget to actual report for 2025, and then we'll touch on the 2026 budget and discuss that more.
Perfect. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you.
Some more to come. I'll come to a planning session prior to that to schedule that as well.
Super. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Keep up the good work.
All right, Matt, do you have anything else?
Just a request for the closed session, Mr. Chair, to discuss the purchase of property. And I'll pull out the property address here, and then also for an update on union labor negotiations, but after perhaps committee schedules.
Yes. All right, I'll start off. Here we go. What are the dates, Jennifer?
9/28 through October 11th.
9/28 through October 11th. Thirtieth, we have planning session. PC BOA. First, I have HRA, 9 o'clock. Third, public works planning. 6th, yellow ribbon committee meeting, 3:30. 7th, board meeting. 8th of the department head meeting, 8:30. That's off. Okay. And that's all we got. Mr. Blank.
I think, I think you've covered me other than, I believe or at least I have it on my calendar on October 7th that we're gonna have a public hearing for naming a unnamed lake, after our board meeting or at 10 o'clock, I believe your scheduled time.
When is that?
Or that would be October 7th, at what will be here for council board.
And that, that's during our meeting though.
Mr. Chair, both public hearings are advertised. One will be, well, they'll both be in conjunction with the board. One is a public hearing to hear the TIF matter, and then public hearing for a water feature, to be heard that day as well.
Mr. Chair, I'd also like to share that, on October 6th, the Rosemary Center will be having a forum at 7 o'clock in Brainerd. And that forum will highlight immigration from Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, and the impact of that to the state of Minnesota on the 6th. Otherwise, I have nothing else to add.
Thank you, Commissioner Lynch. Commissioner Casper?
Yes, Mr. Chair. October 2nd, that Thursday, I have a meeting down in St. Cloud for Great River Regional Library at 6 o'clock, and that's to do with selecting a new director to replace Karen. Then the only other thing I have is, this is for all of us, on Wednesday the 8th, from 8 till 1 p.m. is that celebration of 75 years for KLTF at the Little Falls Ballroom. That's the only other thing I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Casper. Commissioner Rutherford?
Gummy covers.
Commissioner Moran?
Tuesday, September 30th, the barbecue here at 11:30 that they put on Strots and Burgers, end of the season, end of the summer. And then Thursday, October 2nd, Little Falls City Hall informational meeting on the Mississippi Bridge.
What time is that?
5 o'clock.
The state coming or?
I think it's just
City council?
I'm not sure. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. All right. Can I get a motion and a second to go into closed session to discuss union negotiations?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wincher. And second by Commissioner Blaine. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And before we go there, Mr. Chair, maybe I should have said it before, so maybe we need another one. Shoot, because you said labor negotiations, this is also to discuss the purchase of property.
Okay.
And then I want to,
And your motion to include the
Purchase
of property and the negotiations or separate.
thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to list that the property is 312 Broadway Avenue East in Little Falls.
My second is okay.
Okay, all in favor of that, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We are now in
Thank you.
closed session.
Need my banana.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joseph.
Yeah.